Okay, now that we talked for 30 minutes, I feel like I should do an impromptu like commercial, like one man bringing back the power of God. Will he succeed? And is he cooler than you? The answer to both is yes. This year, King Joshua Charming brings you the love story of your life, the true God. And I want to say campus to cry about, but you don't want to cry. Yeah, campus to cry about. Oh my God, look. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Yeah, I really want to buy the rights to Superman. I really want to buy the rights to Batman. I don't remember where I was. So, yeah, Rebecca heard the voice of God. What did they say? These troubled times won't be much longer, something like that. She's just going through it. She lives in California, and so it's really expensive, whereas I live in Texas. It's not. And then there's just this web of dreams that all reinforce each other. So if my spouse shows up, we know the other dreams are happening. And if my spouse doesn't show up, we know we got to go back to the drawing board and find out what went wrong. So that's important. That's why it's very important I at least stay the course until God says, hey, you were wrong. Here's what happened. Here's what we're going to do next time. And here's how we do it correctly. Okay, so third dream. So ever since I was a little kid, there was like kind of this ape in my tree. And I guess that just means in my being. And it was really weird. He was throwing like rocks at me really hard, and I would catch him with my mitt. And I think what was happening is my mom was kind of psychologically hostile. And so I had to learn to debate very quickly. And this doesn't surprise me because as somebody who's going to work on the world stage, I have to be able to defend my ideas and defend them in a practiced fashion. So I did 10,000 hours of debating before I probably hit 13. You know, because she'd say things like, oh, magic and video games is satanic. I don't want that in my house. You can't have that video game. So I had to learn the Bible so I could argue against her and be like, no, the Bible doesn't care because it's pretend. Like, I'm not actually worshiping people. And she goes, well, this is what leads to it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to worship people as long as I'm not, you know. So is it bad to watch The Sword and the Stone? No, that's a classic. Okay, what's the difference? God cares that it's animated and this is a video game. So where was I going with that? So what I didn't learn until recently, because in my journey, I don't just want the answers, I want to lock down the process. So if I master the process, I can give it to others and bring this technology of healing and fruitfulness. So this ape has always gotten stronger and stronger, and I kind of became my own psychological bully. PTSD isn't, the problem isn't what you perceive. The problem is the fear is overriding your frontal brain. And so you have to master yourself in order to master the event for your body to let go and say, okay, you're in charge now. So whenever I sat down to relax and do something, I'd kind of hijack myself and be like, no, you're going to go over here. Anyways, I was praying for this ape, and this isn't something I normally do. In fact, I don't do it, but the prophet, Joe Dawson, who's an apostle with the gift of prophecy, he's an apostle shepherd with the gift of prophecy, he said, make sure you pray things through, which means like this Lindsay process, I need to pray it to its conclusion. Pray for her to be helped, pray for things to be moved, pray for antagonizing people to move out of her lives, that her friends know Jesus, just everything I possibly can just to like fill her spiritual terrarium with, good notes from heaven, the source of creation. So in that process, I started praying for myself as well. So I was praying for this ape. I knew the living God and I wanted to be closer, but this ape, he didn't have a human soul. And then I was driving near where I used to work at Sam's Club in the parking lot. And I kept wondering why I'm seeing Sam's Club, because that's not where I work. And so I realized that one of the things I'm doing in 2025 is planning and building my campus. I want animation. I want YouTube studios. I want there's a ton of things, and I want to build a huge campus. And I think Tomi Ariyomi just confirmed this, where he said, God's going to reinforce projects of scale. And I was like, cool, that's me. So the whole I don't have a human soul is like a manic depressiveness, except manic depressiveness is trying to describe what this thing is, and really it was a pity party character dystopiation, if I had to put a word to it. But it also had might to it, which made it tricky because you can't just wrestle it down. I had to cure the cause and have enough resource development to excavate it. So I was driving on this parking lot, and the pedal, like I didn't even have a pedal. Like the gas thing, the gas pedal was like this bar, like with a spring. So it was kind of hurting my foot. It was like pushing into the soft tissue of my foot. So I guess pressing against me. And I was in this really beat up white Honda Civic. So I think like my mental facilities and like my spiritual car is like becoming more together. I mean, I drive an old car, but it's not, I guess it's a little beat up. So maybe it was a spiritual representation of my car. So I'm trying to drive out, and there was like two people behind me, and they couldn't get ahead of me, and they were in white cars also. So it's like, and so I think that's the other part of my mind, the other parts of my mind, because I have one part dedicated to like spiritual warfare and maintenance, and then I have one part dedicated towards my spouse, and then I have one part dedicated to my campus and efforts, my spouse, and then like spiritual warfare. So I think it might be the three parts of my like attitude, because people were behind me and they weren't upset that I was going really slow, because I was going like 20 miles an hour, which is like how you were supposed to get in a parking lot, but I was trying to get onto the main road and I couldn't go above 20 miles an hour. And then it swapped. It was who I think was Lindsay, because it was her body type, her structure, and her height, but it was like my muscles. It was like my beefiness. It was like my broad shoulders, my so I think it was her using my spiritual gifts, my spiritual powers, because I have really grown my spiritual gifts. And so when my best friends link to me, or my girlfriends, there's like a crossover, like suddenly they get this isn't me trying to boast, this is just I have a responsibility to be like scientific and methodical about this, but they get more like their ability to like see things. So their wisdom goes up, their discernment goes up, their instincts go up, their characterizations go up. So everything kind of like they turn into like hero mode. You go from like an NPC to a main character. Not that I'm calling anyone an NPC, but they become more proactive. So I remember calling her by her true name. So just how like Simon was called Peter by God and Saul was called Paul by God. I asked God what my name is. Like, hey, I want a name. Why do they get names? I don't get a name. I want a name. And I was given the name Bethlehem, which means house of bread. So remember the past dream where like she reached in and grabbed a loaf of hot bread? That's why. She was grabbing a piece of substance of who I was and understanding who I was at my core. And so her name, I don't want to, I feel like it would rob her of something if I were to say it, but at the same time, we're so far past the milestone of when I thought she was going to show up that I'm really not holding anything back anymore. And so the name I heard was Christina, and I looked it up and it meant child of God. And I was like, wow, that's a name. So then I think I hear her voice. I hear, Josh, where are you? Where are you? And then I pull away, so we can't get up to speed. So this thing is also holding us back, is what I'm feeling, this ape-like spirit. But then, so it's a switch, right? So she's in the driver's seat and I'm just watching from behind. So I think it's with my soul powers that I'm just kind of viewing this from a distance, but nearby. And there was a national emergency hunt for this ape. So I think the angels were all looking for it, but God allowed me to sit with this issue for a long time because I wanted to solve it. I wanted to solve addiction and sobriety. I wanted to find the true measure of the sophistication to consistently counter this criteria. And that's not me trying to rhyme, although I do like it. That's me trying to use my discernment and gift of knowledge and prophecy to adequately dictate what is going on. And so we kind of start switching back and forth. So she's driving and not me. And then all of a sudden I'm in the car and she's like, no, I'm not in the car. She's in the car and I'm behind her watching. And then she gets out, it's a national emergency. And then I'm like, what's going on? There's a guy, he's leaning onto something, he lifts up his hoodie, and I'm like, my hoodie? So I was like, oh, that's the ape that's kind of been in my spirit. So it might have been just a psychological dilemma, but it felt spiritual. Spiritual dilemma? Maybe. No, if there's a manhunt on for it, that means it was also spiritual. So it wasn't my spirit, but it was just that intertwined with me that I thought it was. So this ape comes out from underneath my hoodie, and he's wearing a hoodie, so I guess he's disguised to look like me, and he pulls out all this trash. And it reminds me of what the homeless used to do, is they fill their clothes with trash, like newspapers, for insulation. And so I think he was insulated, and so he was well disguised and insulated, so the angels couldn't find him. Now obviously God could have been like, he's right there, but he allowed me to sit with him so I could create the antithesis and the antidote to him, the anti-venom. He's the size of a man, a bit shorter. And he was moaning and wailing. He was like, I don't get to do anything because I'm not an actual human. I don't have a soul. And so he wanted you to feel bad for him, but I was like, no, I recognize a trap. You're just morose. Don't touch me. I'm not playing your stupid pity party game. You're a demon. We're not going to do this. You're a bad guy. Oh yeah, and then these people came down. They said, "Thank you for this thank you for helping on this national manhunt, national hunt." And all of a sudden there were these notifications across screens, and I was like, "What's going on?" And they're saying, "We found the ape." And so I was thinking it was a good thing I was praying for her, but probably also praying for myself and praying for the situation. And so what's interesting is I think some problems are solved by family. And I think some problems are solved by being psychologically intertwined with your spouse. And that only comes with the legal and the dictation that you are married. Because it was me and her being together in tandem that caused this situation to be solved. And so I think a lot of issues going forward are going to be like husbands, wives. So we're seeing the rise of the superhero era, the Samsons, and we're going to see a lot of powers. And then I think the growth of that, the generation after, is husband and wife teams. I think husband and wives are going to kind of intertwine their lives more. Maybe they'll do one will work and one will do if they wanted an art company, maybe the wife would stay home and make sure the paintings are being sold and the husband's at work, and then when he's home he can paint and the wife can send him out, or vice versa. I just think there's going to be dreams and projects are going to work together, and you'll see more of that going forward. Which isn't to say people are going to work less, but I think we're going to see miracles. So we're going to see as miracles happen, people are going to like turn towards God as if he's like this sweet life force drink of life. And then it's so much information. The rise of marriage, and then social culture is going to work on getting along, but like motivation and like quality. Like we're going to like critique our accomplishments, like in church groups, like, hey, what are you doing for your dreams? What are you doing for what you're trying to do? Like, okay, you want to have a kid. Do you have a nursery? Do you have a pen? I like, he's got to play pen. Like, and they've got this, they got kids clothes. Let's get that over to you. And okay, well, this is how you shop on eBay. This is how you cook. And so churches are going to also focus on the sophistication and social works that bring like order and helpfulness to life. Because, and I think there's going to be a lot of YouTube channel groups about that too. Like, this is how you cook. This is how it's really easy. This is how much time it takes. This is how you like calm down. This is how you calm your kids down. This is what you should expect. And then husband and wives will start to like learn trade secrets to like how to still be romantic, how to still have date nights, how to not let your kids exhaust you. And then there'll be like little church groups and neighborhood groups where you guys will like partner. So it'll be like Sunday, all the children go over here. Monday, all the children go over there. Tuesday, all the children go over there. Like Thursday, Friday, spend time with your children. And so like kids will bounce around a lot, and then parents will be able to keep the romance alive. Or like hit the gym. Like, hey, kids are here, we're going to the gym. Then the dads are going to stay home for 2 hours, and the wives are going to go to the gym, and we're going to do this 3 times a week. Or like it'll be like team A and team B. Like you guys, then you guys, let's go. Oh, my arm's getting tired. Was that the end of it? Found the ape, we found the ape. Oh, and then, so Rebecca called, and she was telling me, so first of all, she heard God's voice, and then about 2 or 3 weeks ago, she was playing, I think, Yahtzee with her mom, and she rolled all sevens. She rolled 7, I don't know if it was Yahtzee or another game, but she rolled sevens 10 times in a row. And I was like, okay, 7 is the perfect number, and 10 is the number of process. And she called me and she said, we just rolled sevens 20 times in a row. So either that's twos is like double yoked, leaning on each other, because the disciples went out in twos to like not only preach, but to keep each other accountable. It's hard to like commit adultery when you have somebody with equal morals next to you saying like, don't do it. So I think things are still moving. I'm still encouraged. I have to see this through to the end because I need to know what happened or what's happening. But all the screens turning on is encouraging. So hopefully this comes across her screen. And if not, that's okay. I love you guys. Pray about the future. We got some great things coming. If you like this sort of stuff, tell God that you want to be on like the first wave. But yeah, love you, and I'll talk to you guys later.